Before the sword is raised, the mind already decides whether it will flee. Long before a man abandons his path, he first escapes inside himself. He delays, distracts, negotiates with weakness, and calls it reason. This is not failure in action, but failure in presence. The ancient warriors of Japan understood this danger well, and they named its opposite with ruthless clarity: the discipline of no escape. In the quiet margins of Japanese history stands Miyamoto Musashi, a swordsman who lived as if retreat were a myth. He did not seek comfort, nor did he trust talent or luck. He trained himself to remain where others disappeared. When hunger came, he stayed. When fear arrived, he observed it. When the moment demanded action, he did not look for a door behind him. This was not bravery in the modern sense, but submission to reality without bargaining. This story is not about fighting enemies with blades. It is about confronting the subtle exits we build into our lives. The doors labeled later, tomorrow, someday, or when I feel ready. The discipline of no escape is not aggression, it is stillness under pressure. It is the refusal to fragment when life becomes uncomfortable. Chapter 1: The Hidden Exits. A man named Akira lived a quiet, modern life, surrounded by conveniences that promised ease and safety. His days were filled with screens, soft routines, and endless options for avoidance. Whenever discomfort approached, he shifted his attention elsewhere. When work demanded focus, he checked messages. When silence appeared, he filled it with noise. Nothing was truly wrong, yet nothing felt complete. Akira believed he lacked motivation, but this was not the truth. Motivation was never the problem. The problem was that every moment of resistance had an exit nearby. The mind, like water, flowed toward the easiest path. Over time, his attention weakened, his resolve softened, and his sense of identity blurred. He did not fail loudly, he dissolved quietly. Ancient samurai training recognized this pattern centuries ago. A warrior who escapes discomfort during practice will escape reality in battle. For this reason, training halls were places of controlled hardship. Cold floors, repetitive movements, and long silences were not punishment, they were instruction. The warrior was taught to stay where the body wanted to leave. Chapter 2: The Principle of No Retreat. In Bushido, retreat was not forbidden, but escape was despised. Retreat was strategic, escape was psychological. Escape happened when the mind abandoned the present moment before the body did. To the samurai, this was a fracture of spirit more dangerous than any opponent. Musashi wrote that one must accept everything just the way it is. This acceptance was not passive. It was total engagement without emotional leakage. When pain arose, it was felt fully. When confusion appeared, it was examined without panic. There was no mental running, no fantasy of elsewhere. Akira first encountered this idea not through a book, but through exhaustion. One evening, overwhelmed by distractions, he sat in silence with nothing to entertain himself. No phone, no music, no escape. At first, discomfort screamed for attention. His thoughts raced, his body shifted, his breath grew shallow. He wanted to leave the moment, but there was nowhere to go. Chapter 3: The Fire of Stillness. The mind resists stillness because stillness reveals truth. When distractions vanish, unresolved tensions surface. Regrets, fears, and unexamined desires rise like sediment in clear water. This is why most people avoid silence. Not because it is empty, but because it is full. Zen training embraces this confrontation. Monks sit for hours not to achieve peace, but to endure reality without decoration. They do not chase calm. They allow turbulence to burn itself out. The discipline is not to escape the storm, but to remain seated within it. Akira stayed seated that night longer than he ever had before. Minutes stretched, his breathing slowed. The chaos in his mind did not disappear, but something else emerged beneath it. A quiet strength. A realization that discomfort did not kill him. It simply demanded his presence. Chapter 4. Identity without negotiation. The samurai did not ask themselves how they felt about training each day. Their identity preceded emotion. They trained because that was who they were. Discipline was not an act of willpower, but an expression of self-definition. Modern life encourages constant negotiation with the self. If you feel tired, stop. If you feel bored, switch. If you feel resistance, avoid. Over time, this erodes identity. A person becomes a collection of reactions rather than a force of intention. Akira began to see this pattern in himself. Every abandoned task had weakened his trust in his own word. Every escape had quietly reshaped who he believed himself to be. The discipline of no escape demanded something radical yet simple. He would decide in advance who he was, and then act accordingly, without debate. Chapter 5. Small, non-negotiable actions. Musashi did not seek grand gestures. He refined fundamentals relentlessly. Footwork, posture, timing. Small actions repeated without exception. This was how mastery was built, not through intensity, but through consistency without escape. Akira chose one small practice. Each morning, he would sit in silence for 10 minutes. No timer negotiations. No emotional assessment. If resistance appeared, it would be observed, not obeyed. The practice was not about meditation. It was about staying. At first, the mind protested. It offered excuses and distractions. But Akira did not argue. He did not motivate himself. He simply remained. Over weeks, something subtle shifted. His attention strengthened. His inner voice grew quieter. He began to trust himself again. Chapter 6. The elimination of excess. Samurai armor was designed to protect without excess. Every unnecessary weight was removed. The same principle applies inwardly. The discipline of no escape requires eliminating habits that serve only avoidance. Akira noticed how many tools he used not for utility, but for escape. Endless scrolling, background noise, constant stimulation. He did not demonize these things. He simply reduced them. Silence returned. Focus sharpened. In this emptiness, clarity emerged. Not excitement, but steadiness. Not motivation, but resolve. Life did not become easier, but it became simpler. Problems were faced directly, without mental detours. Chapter 7. Presence as power. The ultimate weapon of the samurai was not the sword, but presence. An opponent could sense when a warrior was fully there. No hesitation, no division. Just attention sharpened to a single point. In modern life, presence has become rare. Most people are physically somewhere and mentally elsewhere. The discipline of no escape reunites these fragments. It trains the mind to stay where the body is, to finish what is started, to meet discomfort without flinching. Akira noticed this presence spreading into other areas of life. Conversations deepened, work improved, decisions became cleaner. He was no longer searching for exits, he was standing inside his actions. Chapter 8. Surrender without weakness. There is a misunderstanding about surrender. To the warrior, surrender was not defeat. It was alignment with reality. Fighting what is only wastes energy. Accepting what is allows precise action. Musashi surrendered to the path fully: poverty, solitude, uncertainty. He did not romanticize suffering, but he did not escape it either. This surrender made him adaptable, grounded, and unshakable. Akira learned to surrender his need for constant comfort. He stopped demanding ease from life. In return, life offered him strength. Not dramatic strength, but quiet durability, the kind that remains when excitement fades. Chapter 9. Living without the back door. Most people live with a back door open, a plan to quit, a fantasy of escape. The discipline of no escape closes this door gently but firmly. It does not trap you, it frees you. When there is no exit, attention sharpens. When there is no alternative, commitment deepens. This is why the samurai burned their boats mentally before battle. There was only forward presence. Akira felt this shift within himself. Tasks were no longer optional. Promises to himself mattered again. He was not harsh, he was precise. Life began to respond differently to him. Conclusion: the quiet path forward. The discipline of no escape is not about becoming hard, it is about becoming whole. It asks you to stay where you are long enough to transform. It removes the illusion that comfort creates strength. Ancient Japanese philosophy does not promise happiness, it offers clarity. It teaches that inner freedom comes not from avoiding pain, but from meeting it without fragmentation. This is the path of the warrior, whether on a battlefield or in a silent room. When you stop escaping, life stops chasing you. When you remain present, reality reveals its structure. And in that structure, strength is no longer something you seek.